Hey everybody! This week I want to share some information that if you follow this, I guarantee it will make you a better custom motorcycle builder. Welcome to Urban Monk TV. So something a little bit different this weekend. It is very hot here in Los Angeles, and I'm going to get a little stuff done here early morning, but I can't make noise, and I'm working on the fiberglass seat pan, so I just gotta wait. But I wanted to do something. I've been thinking about this for a while. Again, I mentioned this in other videos, follow my GS550 Cafe Racer build if you don't already, or I'm an adventure touring bike owner. I've got a Suzuki V-Strom 1000 that I do a lot of maintenance on also. So a lot of motorcycle content here, clearly, but got a background taking care of my own motorcycles, restoring old motorcycles. Now I'm doing a custom cafe build that you guys can watch every step of the way, and then a background in automotive back in my 20s. And but one of the places where I also pick up a lot of inspiration and a lot of knowledge is on YouTube, right where you guys are right now. And there are some builders out there that I follow, and I just think they're great, and I want to mention who they are here and just share a little bit about what I love about them. So if you follow Cafe Racers as much as I do, you probably know about some of the really popular big name builders. They're from all over the world. I mean, here in Los Angeles you have Max Hazan. You get over to Great Britain and London area, you've got Auto Fabrica. Who else? Bad Winners in Paris. Oh, and Greg Hagman in Iowa. That guy, amazing builds. I mean, all of those builders are great. So, you know, lots of inspiration out there. I watch them on Racer TV and see what all the great builders of planet Earth have been up to and get inspired by those. But they don't tend to show how they're doing it. And it's so much more, well, let's just put it this way. When I was a boy growing up in North Dakota, in the summer, and even in the winter, you could just walk down the street and there'd be some neighbor working on his car or working on his motorcycle in his garage, and you just went in there and you hung out for hours and you watched, and eventually they'd say, hey, grab a wrench, and you'd get involved. And you know, that's how I learned my way around a small block Chevy, and blah blah blah. So you can't watch these builders, these masters doing their thing, because they just simply don't share that stuff, and you know, maybe for good reason. But I love being inspired by the work of others, and I like to watch what other people are doing. So there are some builders out there that I like to follow. So all of these guys are working out of their garage, like me, and they're just small-time, I don't want to call them amateur builders, because there's some serious experience, skills, and knowledge at play here. And but they're not only sharing every step of the way, but they're doing all the editing and video upload. It's a ton of work, and some of them are managing a website, and they're just sharing what they know. It's really educational, and I find it highly entertaining, especially because all of these guys seem to be just really nice guys. And I'll be the first to admit that I probably have not scoured YouTube and the internet so in depth that I'm finding all the good builders out there. If I missed your channel here, or I didn't mention it, and you're a great builder, I'm sorry, I just haven't come across you yet. But hey, this is who I'm following, and this is who I like to follow. But you know, search it. Cafe Racer build, custom vintage motorcycle, restoration, you know, so much cool stuff out there. First guy I want to talk about has a channel called Chief Pep. And Pep, I really like Pep. He's like me, he's a family guy, doing this in his spare time, and I know juggling family, professional career, and then a build and a YouTube channel and editing and all of that. So he's cool, but he's very knowledgeable. And I know he worked in the motorcycle industry. I believe he worked for Suzuki in the past. And he is working on a early 80s monoshock Yamaha XV. I don't know if it's a 750 or a 900 or what it is. But it's not his first one. He's done a couple of these things and they came out great. And the one he's working on right now is really a cool project. One of the things I like most about Chief Pep's channel is that he uses or utilizes a professional machine shop. I believe it's called Razorman. And what's going on in that shop is really high-level machining work done by clearly a master. And he brings his camera along. So while I'm working in my simple garage, I have a limited budget on my project, and I'm not spending that kind of money to go to a pro shop like that. There's a lot to be learned there, watching the pro and how he tackles a problem and a solution, and then you can adapt that to what you do in your own humble garage. And then Pep just has a great eye for design, and check out his site. He's also recently begun doing moto vlogs and going around Amsterdam talking about motorcycles, but also sharing a bit of his city with us, and I like that. Amsterdam's a cool place. I haven't been there since 1984, and I imagine it's changed some since then. I was very young. Anyways, Chief Pep, check him out. Great channel. The next guy I want to talk about is Hack a Week. I believe his name is, well, he calls himself Dino. His name might be Dean. And he may be, of all the guys that I'm going to talk about here in this video, he might be, and he may not be, but he might be the single most knowledgeable in all areas person here that I'll mention. He's a wellspring of information, and he owns his own restoration shop, both automotive and motorcycle, in North Carolina. He is good with engines. He is good with mechanics in general. He's good with fiberglass, and has done some. I mean, he built a fiberglass gas tank, which, wow, and custom. And that was part of his VF 750 build, I believe. It's a Sabre that he did as a cafe racer. Whole series. I learned a ton there. And also electronics. He's really good with electronics and does not just simply do motorcycle stuff. You can learn a lot about old school electronics from Dino. He's currently working on a CB twin cylinder, like a CB 360. I don't think it's a 350, but it's a scrambler project, so I'm following that. He has done a full teardown, complete engine rebuild on a mid-70s CB 750. That was a very informative build, and I believe he put some, new connecting rods, some race components in there, and got some extra performance out of that engine, and had to make some pretty interesting mods to the cylinders, the cylinder bank itself, to get these connecting rods to work. That was super cool. Took that into a machine shop, but did the work himself. So a ton to be learned there. That VF 750 was a very knowledgeable project, or knowledge-filled project. And what else can I say about Dean? He too, like the others, just seems to be a really cool guy, and he's the kind of guy you just want to hang out in his garage with him the whole time. So please check out Hack a Week if you don't already follow him. He has quite a few subscribers. Moving to another region of the world, well, we'll go to Tasmania, where Andy's Motorcycle Obsessions is located. This guy, Andy, may be on par with Dino from Hack a Week in his overall knowledge level. One of the most knowledgeable guys that I've followed out there with what is clearly a vast set of past experiences. Maybe a bit different from Dino's, but he has built a Yamaha XS 1100 that he affectionately calls Basket Case, and that entire build there is there, and I think he's got a separate playlist for that. But now he rides that bike and does moto vlogs around Tasmania. You can see the beautiful country, and he's a member of the Riders of Tasmania rider group, and he's a character in a good way, and that's just entertaining. And he also seems to be a very good guy. He has a Patreon page, however you want to say it, where people can support him, and I began sponsoring Andy when he did a video where he was doing some charity. The Riders of Tasmania were doing something for a charity for a home that he, I believe, volunteers at, and he's clearly someone that just lives his life in service to others, and that certainly attracts me. I just love that quality in people. But he also, well, along those lines, he has an acquaintance, a guy named Bill, who is elderly. I believe he's in his 70s. He is retired and on a limited fixed income, but Bill just wants to get back on a motorcycle, even at this late stage in his life. And Andy has taken on this very worn and well, been around the block. It's quite beat up, actually. It's an 80s GS 1100, and Andy has decided he is going to rebuild this thing for Bill at no cost to Bill. And at that point, I upped my sponsorship level on his Patreon page, because you know, that's the kind of thing you want to support. And so Andy, very knowledgeable. That GS 1100 build in particular, because the bike is in a pretty rough state, there's a lot to be learned there, and he is very good at coming up with creative solutions to rebuild things like a broken post on a float, you know, the support post that the pin goes through. It's broken off. I mean, most of us would be looking for a new carb body. Not Andy, he fixed the thing, so super cool. Check out his channel and support him on Patreon if you like. I just think it's a worthy place for a few dollars a month. Staying in that region of the world, in Australia, I don't know where, I don't believe he's revealed where in Australia he is, or I missed it if he did, is Cafe Racer Garage. And I'm sorry, I don't know this gentleman's name. Again, I don't know if he mentioned that in any of his videos. But again, a really knowledgeable guy. He clearly knows his way around a garage and is a savvy DIYer. Got some woodworking skills. I wish I had watched his seat pan video before I did mine. I kind of simultaneously did that, and it was off and running with mine before I got turned on to his video series on it. But he's working on a early 80s CB750 that he's doing a bang-up job on this thing. Looks great. He swapped out the front forks for something a bit more modern and better brakes. Again, that bike just looks fantastic so far, so you can follow that build. He also has two bikes, same model. I think they're different years. Well, I know they're different years because one's a custom and the other is a deluxe, I think they called it. CX500. This is a bike that is near and dear to my heart. If you follow my channel, you know that that was my first street bike as a 16-year-old teenager, and I used to ride it to high school and everywhere else, and just cut my teeth as a on-the-road rider on a CX500. And I loved the performance of that bike, and I loved the sound of that bike, and there's just something magic about the CX500. I owned two of them back then, and now I own another one, actually a GL500, that's in my brother's garage up in Minnesota, and hope to get my hands on that down here in California sometime soon, but I got my hands full with the GS550. Cafe Racer Garage is a great channel to watch. Check it out if you can. Really nice guy. Well, let's slide back to the States, now to Austin, Texas, a city that's also near and dear to my heart, probably not quite as much as the CX500, but in my early 20s, me and my bandmates were in a pretty good blues band. In fact, the intro to my video intro to my whole series here, to my channel, is a song that I co-wrote with one of my bandmates. And these guys, one's my brother, another one is the bass player is a high school mate. That bass player actually has been living in Austin, Texas for 20-something years and has established himself as kind of a fixture in the Austin Blues Society down there. And he's toured all over the world playing blues over the years, but great guy. That's an aside. But we used to drive from North Dakota down to East 6th Street and just check out the blues scene, just get inspired. And, but I'm here to talk about a motorcycle channel. Classic Octane, a guy named Tyler, is in Austin, and he's both a motorcycle guy and an automotive guy. But he's done a lot of Cafe Racer and Scrambler and a bobber build that he features on his channel, and really knowledgeable. He's a really good welder, which is a skill that I'm trying to grow in myself, so I like watching him weld. What has he done? I think he's done more than one CB, 70s era CB 4-cylinder. I think a CB 750, I think he had a 550 in there. I can't even recall all of them. And then in particular, he recently did a Triumph bobber that came out really good. And he's got a good eye, he's a solid mechanic, and yet again, just a nice guy. Check out Classic Octane. He's got a pretty cool logo for his t-shirts too. I should get some t-shirts. We'll see. I tend to kind of just do this as a hobby. I'm not monetized, and I'm not just concerned with all that stuff. But check out his t-shirts. I love his logo, and a great channel. This next one is probably a channel you've heard about because he has a huge number of followers for a custom cafe motorcycle builder. It's not like Miranda Sings type followers, but I believe he's located in London or London area because he had a bike on display at the bike shed recently, so just kind of assume that he's somewhere near there. I started following him years ago when he was starting out in his backyard, really kind of humble beginnings, working on a GS 550 like me, and not a lot of GS 550s out there on YouTube. In fact, I think there's his and mine, and that's about it. And I don't know why it is such a fantastic platform for a cafe racer. I think probably one of the best available, and it's a beautiful bike. And that's an aside. For the Bold, or For the Bold Industries, and he's got a website, and I don't know if he does a Patreon page, but he might. Check it out. And then of course that's his YouTube channel. He's got the GS550, he's also working on an early 80s CB 750, and dear to my heart, the CX500, which was the bike that he displayed at the bike shed recently. His strength seems to be in design. I believe he's employed professionally as a graphic designer or something of that ilk. And good eye, good design, So I enjoy him for that reason, and then his builds he's got good builds. So check out For the Bold if you don't already. And last, but I don't think it'll be the least, is a brand new fresh face to YouTube and custom motorcycle building. Another Cafe Racer build, and I was turned on to this guy's channel by Cafe Racer Garage in Australia, and he is from somewhere in Canada. I don't believe he's mentioned where yet. If he did, I missed it. And another bastion of good salt of the earth type people. Love Canada. Growing up in North Dakota, we're close. Got up to Winnipeg a lot, Thunder Bay, a lot of fishing. Great country. Good people. And so he's working on an XJ650, and he only has 2 videos up so far, but he's clearly savvy in the garage. He's working on a fiberglass seat pan in these 2 videos, and it just looks very promising. So if you're already subscribed to all of these other channels that I'm mentioning here, maybe check him out. I'm following so far, and it looks very promising. Another Cafe Racer build. So I like watching all of these different builders because in doing so, they've got different bikes and different problems and different experience sets, so they come up with different solutions, and I get exposed to a myriad of ways to tackle anything I run into, and then if you're like me, you just find hanging out in the garage with guys that are working on whatever entertaining and educational and fun. So check them out, you guys. These are some really good builds, and they're all good guys, humble guys, who are just sharing what they've picked up. And think about it. I mean, how many years of experience these guys collectively have. That's valuable, and they're just sharing it out on YouTube. YouTube, like the internet in so many ways, it has, it can contribute to the dumbing down of humanity, but it can also do the opposite. And I think YouTube is just wonderful for the way it builds community around these experiences and skill sets like motorcycles that we all love so much. So that's it. If you like what I'm doing, I'm going to get back to the Cafe Racer here very soon, and like and subscribe if you like my channel, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.